Why are you doing it?
To prove that skinny people aren't lucky to be skinny, they just move around a lot, and that fat people are, in fact, lazy.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at celebrities with huge egos who got taken down a peg or two.
The deep state and their allies in the media and politics tried to destroy me.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20. Rebekah Vardy.
Colleen Rooney's lawyer David Sherborne suggested you were perfectly happy for the staged photo to take place, perfectly happy for Caroline Watt to do the dirty, as long as the dirt doesn't come back on you. Not true, said Mrs. Vardy.
Was she selling stories to the paper? The court certainly seemed to think so, since they ruled against her in the infamous Wagatha Christie trial, following public accusations from fellow wag Colleen Rooney that she was selling stories Rooney had planted on her Instagram accounts. Vardy sued her.
In October 2019, Colleen Rooney claimed she'd caught Vardy leaking fake stories about her to the press through her private Instagram account. 3 were published in The Sun, including one about a flood at her house.
But it was Rooney who came out smelling of roses thanks to various mistakes made by Team Vardy, including the claim that Vardy's agent, Caroline Watt, had accidentally dropped her phone, likely full of incriminating messages, into the sea, with Vardy also conveniently not having the messages because she forgot the backup password. Vardy was ordered to pay millions of pounds after losing.
Rebekah Vardy had earlier denied lying after her witness statements had been changed in the run-up to the trial.
Number 19. Bernie Ecclestone.
He arrived here this morning flanked by his security team. His wife, Fabiana, was in the car with him and she sat in court 13.
After years of courting controversy, F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone got into water so hot even he couldn't worm his way out of it in 2022. Over a decade after he'd already been found out for tax avoidance to the tune of £1.2 billion, he was then charged with the far more serious offence of tax fraud.
Mr. Ecclestone spoke only to confirm his name and he sat in court behind his barrister throughout the proceeding.
The CPS said he'd been trying to hide £400 million in undeclared assets. Rather than go through a lengthy trial, Ecclestone ate humble pie for once and pleaded guilty to fraud, also agreeing to pay hundreds of millions of pounds in the back taxes he owed. The sums were so high that he was even handed a prison sentence, albeit one that was suspended for 2 years.
Mr. Ecclestone indicated at a previous court appearance that he will deny the charge. He has not yet formally entered a plea.
Number 18. John Gummer.
The Agriculture Minister John Gummer today enrolled his daughter Cordelia in his campaign to persuade people that eating beef is safe.
There was absolutely nothing the matter with British beef in the 80s and 90s. That's what John Gummer, a Tory minister who was Environment Secretary when the full scale of the mad cow disease outbreak became known, would have you believe. In chilling and now infamous scenes, Gummer tried to downplay the risk to humans, insisting that the disease couldn't jump species.
It was a little hot for her. But later he munched it himself to prove to the world that he at least is confident there's nothing to worry about.
He said on the news that beef was fine, giving his young daughter, Cordelia, a beef burger to eat on camera. We now know that it absolutely could jump between species, and many humans died as a result of BSE spread. Luckily, Cordelia was fine, but the footage remained shocking.
There is no need for people to be worried, and I can say perfectly honestly that I shall go on eating beef as my children will go on eating beef because there is no need to be worried.
Number 17. Joey Barton.
Long time. You've got Laura Woods, who's one of the best, I think, one of the best football presenters in the game. She's a woman. She's been furious today about what you said. Why should people like that be excluded from the men's game?
Football player Joey Barton is never out of the tabloids these days, regularly finding himself at the wrong end of numerous libel lawsuits. Presenter Jeremy Vine and football pundit and ex-player Eni Aluko have both taken him to court, the former after Barton called him a bike nonce, and the latter after he compared her and fellow pundit Lucy Ward to Fred and Rose West.
Eni and Lucy Ward, the Fred and Rose West of football commentary.
He's since been found guilty of sending offensive messages and charged with malicious communication. More recently, he's been charged with wounding the intent after a violent altercation at a golf course in Merseyside. He's also been done for placing dodgy bets on football matches and was found guilty of attacking his own wife.
The victim was taken to hospital for assessment of serious injuries to his face and body. He is in a serious but stable condition in hospital.
Number 16, Naomi Campbell.
This is a big inconvenience for me.
Supermodel Naomi Campbell remains one of the most famous women in the world, but in 2010 found herself forced to testify in the trial of dictator Charles Taylor. Court proceedings dragged on for years after Taylor had been removed from power, but part of the allegations involved Taylor trading weapons for blood diamonds. And some of those diamonds allegedly found their way to Naomi Campbell, who was made to testify via a subpoena and made no secret of the fact she didn't want to be there.
Are you a bit nervous?
No, well, I didn't really want to be here, so I was made to be here. So obviously I'm just like wanting to get this over with and get on with my life.
She was frustrated, irritable, and denied any knowledge of where the diamonds had come from, barely answering any of the questions put to her.
Received a diamond from Charles.
I didn't receive a diamond, and I'm not going to speak about that. Thank you very much. And I'm not here for that.
Number 15, Jeffrey Archer.
We were given false assurances by Jeffrey Archer. And as soon as we've had an allegation about him that has been substantiated and shown to be true, we've acted quickly and correctly.
After being in and out of government for years, Archer's political career ended just about for good in 2001, when he was put on trial for perjury. The perjury charges pertain to his previous trial in 1987 for libel, when he took the Daily Star to court when it ran a story alleging he'd paid for sex.
Jeffrey Archer was clearly desperate to become mayor of this city, but few thought he'd make it to the end of the race.
Years later, someone came out publicly to say that they'd provided Archer with a false alibi. He was found guilty and sentenced to prison, during which time he also had to pay back the Daily Star all the money, plus legal fees he'd won during the libel suit that turned out not to be libelous at all.
Lord Archer's wife and son went out and left him at home tonight. This is the most profound disgrace he's ever been in.
Number 14, James Corden.
The service, if I lived in New York, I'd go every day on the proviso that, you know, they would let me in. So...
Is there any arrogant comeuppance as memorable as James Corden's explosive restaurant rant? He says that he lost his temper with waitstaff in New York restaurant Balthazar over some allergies. While it's always important to take allergies seriously, shouting at the overworked restaurant staff probably isn't going to help, and the allergens were spotted before they caused any trouble.
I made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment. It was ungracious to the server.
He was publicly banned by the restaurant owner, generating masses of headlines, and he was eventually forced to apologize on The Late Late Show. He's since left America completely and, other than the big Gavin and Stacey finale, has finally started to fade into obscurity.
I called him straight away and I told him how upset I was. I was upset, how upset I was that anybody was hurt by anything that I had done.
Number 13, Chris Evans.
He's criticised his boss on air, said most of his listeners are thick, made a tasteless joke about Holocaust victim Anne Frank, and only recently refused to do the Radio 1 roadshow.
He thought he could give Top Gear a new lease on life when he was drafted in to replace Clarkson, Hammond, and May, but he got a very rude awakening when everybody hated this new iteration of the program. Evans has long been known for being arrogant and difficult to work with, once quitting Radio 1 because they didn't want to give him Friday mornings off.
I'm in my happy place.
You're in your happy place?
We thought he'd mellowed out in subsequent years, but he still couldn't take the heat on Top Gear, leaving after only a year, despite signing a 3-year contract to front it. Allegedly, this was because fellow presenter Matt LeBlanc, who also didn't last long, said he would quit if Evans didn't leave.
First series fronted by Chris Evans, and now we learn the only one he'll appear in.
Number 12, Simon Cowell.
And
2013 saw Simon Cowell get at least a little bit of pushback against his authoritarian control of the music industry. During that year's Britain's Got Talent finale, one of the classical musicians on stage to support the finalists got up from her chair, stormed across the stage, and hurled eggs directly at Cowell, with a handful hitting their mark. The woman, Natalie Holt, is a professionally trained viola player who apologized, then specified that her apology was only for Richard and Adam, the contestants, and she stood by her anti-Cowell views.
Apologies for that happening. Obviously, that was not part of the act. We'll get to the bottom of what that was, so well done for carrying on.
Cowell's vice-like grip on music has somewhat lessened since the end of the X Factor, and we doubt anybody is complaining about that.
I actually sent a tweet out yesterday saying I don't like eggs, and I really don't like eggs now.
Number 11, Sir Philip Green.
Sir Philip Green makes an almost pantomime villain.
Business magnate Philip Green ruled Arcadia Group and, through it, controlled many of the high street's best-known retailers. One of those retailers was British Home Stores, which he bought in 2000 and then sold for £1 15 years later, having run up debts over £1 billion while he collected hundreds of millions in dividends.
But that was then. Now BHS is in administration, led there by a man who's been bankrupt 3 times.
The following year, BHS went bankrupt, leaving its employees without their pensions. After a lengthy dispute, Green eventually agreed to pay into the scheme to restore those pensions.
What has never before been revealed is that 2 years ago, Sir Philip Green planned a massive restructuring of BHS called Project Thor.
MPs even voted to strip Green of his knighthood, though the government didn't bother. This, and his other scandals, have made him one of the most maligned names in business. Number 10, Phillip Schofield.
Good morning and welcome. You join us now for the International Coconut Ball Competition.
He was one of the biggest names in telly, fronting This Morning, Dancing on Ice, and even having a theatrical career. But rumours began to circulate years ago that Schofield was unpleasant to work with former co-hosts Fern Britton and Amanda Holden allegedly feuding with him off camera. There were even whispers of a rift with Holly Willoughby.
There are people that you hoped would be around, and then they're not, and you shed that skin.
Then, when the news of his affair broke, he was exiled from mainstream television, fading into obscurity. That was until he appeared in a one-off series on Channel 5, where he got stranded on a desert island for 10 days, complaining about all the toxic people in his life that he never wanted to speak to again.
Over the course of my 10 days, I have written down all the things and all the people who were and are toxic in my life.
Number 9, Jamie Oliver.
To survive in this industry is really tough. I was very naive at the time. I was good at running one restaurant, but I wouldn't call myself a businessman.
Many times, TV chef Jamie Oliver has suffered for his own hubris. There was, of course, the infamous chicken nuggets fiasco, where the children remained unperturbed by chicken nuggets containing ground-up bone and gristle. But we're going to go with a scandal that affected far more people: the failure of Jamie's Italian.
Today, from the south coast through to Scotland, the close signs went up.
A chain carrying just one name now leaving 1,000 out of work.
The mid-range restaurant chain opened dozens of outlets worldwide, but by 2018, the shine had come off. It turned out that the chain had run up tens of millions of pounds in debt, some of it in unpaid wages, and was also behind paying vendors and HMRC. The chain collapsed and was deemed to have acted unlawfully in how it handled redundancies.
Industry insiders say today's scenes of hastily abandoned restaurants carry a warning about the viability of this sector.
Number 8. Noel Edmonds.
I am loving. I am love.
While he's certainly become a more annoying public figure in the UK, there's one country in particular that absolutely despises Noel Edmonds: New Zealand. He and his wife emigrated there back in 2019, buying an 800-acre estate that they wanted to operate as a wellness retreat, much to the chagrin of the locals.
We managed to make the papers because apparently I'd sacked everybody. I didn't sack everybody.
He bought up a dozen buildings in a rural village with fewer than 3,000 inhabitants, and they're not happy, especially not with his pub, the Bugger Inn, and its X-rated draft names.
Welcome to the Bugger Inn.
Nature seems not to like him either, as he's talked about how he and his wife had to temporarily abandon their vast estate following an earthquake.
It is a sex toy, and Summers should sell them. It is just the horniest bit of kit you will ever come across.
Number 7. Liz Truss.
I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this.
If any politician has lost their mind in the last few years, some would argue it's Liz Truss. Her spectacular fall from grace happened after she tanked the economy during her brief 50-day tenure in government.
I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
But in the years since, the out-of-control ego that led to the demise of her premiership has only got worse.
In 2022, I was deposed from the office of Prime Minister of Great Britain.
She's recently claimed that it wasn't her mini-budget that crashed the economy, but that she was prevented from enacting successful economic policies by bad actors within the Tory party. She even attempted to launch a podcast about how the West is dying, describing her own page as the home of the counter-revolution. Number 6. Boris Johnson.
You told the House of Commons, you told the British people again and again that no rules were broken.
Another British government brought down by arrogance directly preceded Liz Truss's, Boris Johnson's. While the Chris Pincher scandal was the final nail in the coffin, Boris's downfall was the culmination of the long aftermath of Partygate. Senior politicians and civil servants denied it for months, but eventually the truth came out, and we got definitive proof that Boris did attend at least 3 of the illegal gatherings.
Gray said the culture that allowed these parties came from the top, official and political.
We are humbled by the experience, and we have learned our lesson.
He and Rishi Sunak apologised and paid the fixed penalty notices they were handed by the police. Eventually, Boris was forced to step down after a mass resignation of Tory ministers, triggering 6 months of political chaos.
Sue Gray published some pictures of the Prime Minister at the birthday gathering, for which he got a fixed penalty notice.
Number 5. Jeremy Clarkson.
An internal BBC inquiry found Mr. Timon was subjected to an unprovoked physical and verbal attack.
There was arrogance on all sides during the 2015 debacle that saw Top Gear's second iteration end, from Clarkson in getting so angry over a lack of hot dinner that he punched a producer in the face, and then taken from the BBC, which inexplicably thought that it could refuse to renew Clarkson's contract and keep Hammond and May.
The presenter called him lazy and Irish, and then used an expletive.
Well, they called the BBC's bluff, and all 3 left, signing on to make the Grand Tour with Amazon. As we've already seen, Top Gear in the interim floundered, though the Grand Tour has now also ended.
All I would like to say is I wish people...
I wish people would leave Osh alone, because none of this is his fault.
In its place, we have Clarkson's Farm, offering a more realistic perspective on Clarkson after his many controversies. Number 4, Piers Morgan. Anybody can tell you that of all the people who hate Piers Morgan, Jeremy Clarkson is at the very top of the list.
Well, as it turns out, he knows nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. He's floundering around.
Their feud goes back decades, with Clarkson punching Morgan in the face in 2004 and later rubbing it in his face while hosting a charity edition of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that Morgan was competing on.
I can think of a million reasons why I shouldn't trust you, including a scar on my forehead. And there's your broken finger.
My broken finger.
From where he struck me.
But there was another memorable incident where Piers Morgan got what for when Harry Hill smacked him with a custard pie as revenge for Morgan's posts about how it was emasculating for Daniel Craig to carry his baby in a papoose. He still hasn't lived down his GMB temper tantrum either.
And because this pie is for all those men that wear papooses.
Oh!
That's for the guys who wear papooses. All right.
Number 3, Hannah Ingram-Moore.
The publisher says that you signed that contract.
He signed the contract with Penguin Random House, and then I signed to say where the money was going on his behalf.
Just what happened to all that money raised by Sir Captain Tom Moore during lockdown? Well, rather a lot of it ended up in the Captain Tom Foundation, a charity that got the attention of the Charity Commission in 2022 for all the wrong reasons, namely the construction of Britain's most controversial spa.
Is that the foundation's money was used in initial planning application for a spa block. Now, I understand you've clarified that a bit by saying it's also going to be part of a Captain Tom experience with memorabilia.
The spa emerged on the property of Moore's daughter, Hannah, a spa that was later demolished by the council because it didn't have planning permission. The foundation stopped accepting donations, and later, Ingram-Moore and her husband ended up barred from ever working in senior management of a charity again.
The initial construction was supposed to be a hub for his charity, and his daughter Hannah Ingram-Moore decided to erect a pool, a spa worth £200,000.
Number 2, Katie Hopkins.
You know, being obese, being fat, being overweight has become the new normal. I really believe for fat people, the solution is their own hands. They don't need to put so much into their faces.
It's very rare that Katie Hopkins does bother to learn a lesson, but there's one rare case during her weight gain project. She aimed to put on a large amount of weight and then lose it to prove that actually losing weight is easy, and the people who struggle to do it just aren't trying hard enough.
I hate fat people for making me do this.
Well, ironically, she ate her words, saying that she'd, for once, seen the error of her ways and knew just how hard losing weight actually is. She acknowledged that, quote, "Nobody wants to be fat by choice," end quote. Perhaps Chris Ramsey got through to her when he attacked her over this on Celebrity Juice.
Ooh, wouldn't it be brilliant if that fat cow couldn't lose it?
To be fair, they probably wouldn't, because unlike you, they probably wouldn't judge you for being overweight.
Number 1, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
Dramatic news about Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor.
The BBC understands that he has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office.
It takes someone with an extraordinary ego to go into that Newsnight interview willingly and then bizarrely believe afterwards that it had all gone well. As everybody else in the world knew though, it did not go well. Andrew's royal career, if it can be called a career, was in tatters, though it didn't truly end for him until 2025.
Police in unmarked cars arrive at Sandringham to take the King's brother into custody.
The full truth of his friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein came out, leading to Mountbatten-Windsor having all of his titles stripped, including Prince, and becoming the first royal to be arrested since King Charles I was deposed. He's now been investigated on suspicion of misconduct in public office, pertaining to his work as trade envoy.
There are allegations that he shared official documents with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Let us know in the comments who you want to see in the top 30.